Welcome back to the Backyard Professor Responds videos. Kristen Harloff, Down to Earth, had a report today on China reporting UFOs just this last weekend. I went to the source itself. It's on X, and I'm going to share part of this clip on this very interesting analysis of this very interesting development. Once again, we now know, and we've known, but we now know, again, it's reinforced that UFOs are not just an American phenomenon. They are all over the world. And now the Chinese news is reporting this. Let's take a look.
Please, General, show everyone what you think this is. This scene appeared in Fujian, and of course, many netizens have captured it on their phones. We first noticed an unidentified flying object. According to eyewitnesses, it initially appeared as a dot and then spread out into a geometric pattern. At first, people thought it was a drone, but then the number of flying objects increased and the shape suddenly turned into a circle, leading many to doubt that it was a drone.
The image you see here beside it, many netizens also eagerly commented online that it amazingly looked like the famous 7 stars aligning, magnificently breaking through the clouds, and astonishingly it lasted for about an entire minute.
I believe it's a UFO fleet. Why do I say this? Don't doubt it. The US military said it themselves. They've declassified a lot of information proving and finding many unidentified flying objects in the sky. Even American pilots have seen many of them, but at the time it was all sealed. After all, the world is vast, and the universe is even more boundless. It's hard to say what can happen, but it's possible there are technologically advanced beings that surpass us, beings that are more advanced than Earth. But watching this film, it's clear to me that it's definitely not a drone. Why? Because just look at the cloud layers. The brightness of a drone wouldn't be this intense. No matter how bright a drone is, it wouldn't reach this level. The brightness shining through the clouds, showing it's above the cloud layer, and still being that bright is impressive. Especially when we observe there. From the witnesses' observations, it changes speed quickly. Unlike airplanes which follow a certain flight path, these objects change rapidly. So I think it's likely that this is the UFO fleet, with many U-5s appearing simultaneously over Jiangzhou. It's something worth investigating further, as this world is big and the universe vast, far beyond what Taiwan or our small Earth can comprehend.
Moreover, the US has previously observed numerous unidentified flying objects in the sky, which they also couldn't explain. So we can only suggest it might be aliens visiting.
So he does now, and this is apparently a Chinese general, which means he's got permission to share his view on these lights from the government. It's unlikely that the government would just let a general go off there and squawk about UFOs without permission. The lights in the clouds, lighting up the clouds, that's interesting. I'm not quite sure if lights over New Jersey, the drones over New Jersey, colored the clouds if it was cloudy there while all the drone hullabaloo was happening a couple of months ago, which of course our news has now immediately dropped, but I still hear reports coming in of people continuing to see drones. Now, this is interesting because if they're drones that shape shift from UFOs, could their light be brighter and bounce off the clouds like we see here? There is a line of them, you notice? And with a line like that, all of that group could light up the clouds. So I'm not quite sure how reasonable his explanation is that they are UFOs and alien beings, right? I honestly don't know the brightness effects of drones, especially if they're very large. Maybe drones could light up the clouds like that, right? He did say that witnesses were indicating there was weird speeds involved. We didn't see that in this clip, but he did say that some of the witnesses were saying these were flying extremely fast. In this particular clip, they were just kind of sitting there, but gathering together, showing up. So my point in this that makes this so fundamentally interesting is the worldwide phenomenon. Now, we know that for all intents and purposes, it was the UK and the United States New Jersey show with the drones, right? And China didn't report in a lot. We did have some ideas from Australia, but I mean, it spread out in the United States down into Texas, over into Utah, California. It was in the north. Maine apparently had some, New York, and that's where the Tedesco brothers reside, and they were busy looking at the drones as well, gathering their data. So this is quite interesting to see China and their media now coming out and saying, hey, this is in the Fujian province. This is in China. And that video that I presented earlier today was of an Italian mass sighting of UFOs. Very interesting that it is now registered in Italy, and China and the UK, and now in the United States, in various spots in the United States. If I do remember correctly, it was either Brazil or somewhere down in Guatemala. It might have been Brazil, Peru perhaps, where sightings were also made. They were identifying those, if I remember correctly, as drones. But if the UFOs can shape shift, and there are a few videos who show the lights changing shape. I know we have witness testimony that beings come out of these orbs of light. The orbs are extremely spectacularly mysterious, without question. Chris Bledsoe in his Instagram posts show these orbs coming, and they glow big, and then they kind of flit and drop like leaves, and then they go back up, or they go across, or whatever. It's really quite remarkable. There is something in the skies. In China, they are saying it's UFOs. And it sounds to me like they are in agreement that this type of anomaly is superior to us technologically, and that has got to be registering with the Chinese that we need all hands on deck, as it were, and we need all the countries examining this most fascinating phenomenon. So good news for the UFO community. It has now been registered in China by the Chinese media, which is really new. Correct me if I'm wrong. So far as I'm aware, we never heard anything out of China whatsoever that UFOs or drones were flying in China last October, November, and December, and into January. I don't recall seeing any news information from any China media. So this is kind of new. This is kind of interesting. So now they come under this umbrella now in February 2025. So I'm just pointing out that the more we look, we want to pay attention to this, because new demographics is now arising, and that can make this all the more fascinating. So thanks for watching the Backyard Professor Responds videos. I will respond to more as I find them. I hope you guys are having a great day. Have a great evening, and I will catch up with you soon.